Inshallah, we will start now. Alhamdulillah, countless gratitude to Allah, the Lord of all the creations, who has bestowed upon us this opportunity and ability to spend this time in His remembrance. Innumerable peace and blessings be upon our beloved Prophet Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa Ahmad Mujtaba Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, because of whom Allah's mercy is upon us. My dear and respected audience, Allah says in Quran, A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajeem, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر ليلة القدر خير من ألف شهر صدق الله العظيم. Verily, we revealed it, this Quran, on the night of Qadr. And what do you think or what do you know about the night of Qadr? That night is better than 1,000 months. Sadaqallahu Azim. One of the greatest bounties of the month of Ramadan is that this month contains the night of Qadr, the night that is the best night in all of the year. No other night in the whole year contains that much virtue and value than the night of Qadr. Allah says that praying to Him, worshipping Him, obeying Him that night, or seeking His forgiveness, seeking His help in that night by means of standing and doing prayers, making dua, doing Quran Pak, listening to Quran, that is better than more than 84 years of continuous worship of Allah. So if you live to be 83, 84 years, and every moment you are doing worship of Allah, you're not sleeping, you are not doing anything else, you are just doing worship of Allah, even then that night is better than that. And there are two meanings of it. Sometimes in Arabic, the word 1,000 comes to mean innumerable. So either it is better than worshipping 83 years or days, or it is better than doing your prayers and worshipping Allah all your life or indefinite amount of time. Another thing in this night is when the program of all the next year is given to the angels from Allah. So it goes from year to year. So what does that mean? It means who is going to die in the next year between this night till next night of Qadr, who is going to be born, who is going to be given, how much wealth, how much, who is going to be made poor, who everything is going to fall sick, who is going to be healed, everything, all the matters of this dunya is this world is handed over to the angel in this night, and that is why it is called night of al-qadr, in which the qadr is revealed, the destiny of people is revealed and is written. That is another reason to be vigilant about this light, because Rasulullah he said whenever there was such an incident or such a day or time, he would love to be in remembrance of Allah, so that when your decree is being passed, you are praying to Allah, you are worshipping Allah, you are asking Allah for forgiveness. Because Rasulullah he says that a person, he is planning on marrying and he is planning or starting new businesses and he is planning to doing things such and such, whereas on that night his destiny has been written that he is going to die within that year. So we keep on planning our things, knowing, assuming we are going to live to do it. But when that night comes, it is written something that we are not ready for. We are planning that my child is going to be X, Y, and Z. We are saving money for their college and X, Y, and Z. And you don't know that that night Allah has written that day He is going to take them away from you. So let alone this night is not only that this night is worshipping in it is better than 83, 84,000 months, it is also we don't know what Allah has decided about us in this night. And the only way to spend this night is thus to be in His remembrance, seeking His forgiveness, and asking His help. Because whatever He has written for us, we don't know. But we can make dua to Him that make it better for us, life or death, poverty or being rich, wealth, whatever it is, we can make dua. Oh Allah, whatever you have written is going to happen. Make it good for us. Make it those who accept it and behave in the way that you want us to behave in. And this whole month of Ramadan is a practice of doing it. It is a crash course that we stop. There are few things in life that are halal and few that are haram. Oh, but this is the month when we make even the halal things haram on us. We don't drink, we don't gossip, we don't eat just to please Allah. It is a practice that we, let alone refraining ourselves or refraining from doing things that Allah has prohibited us from doing, we are prohibiting ourselves from the things that Allah has otherwise permitted for us, made them permissible for us. And that is the training to be humble. Remember, the quality that Allah loves the most in His servants, in His creation, is humility. Allah does not like pride. Allah does not like anybody claiming, though, I am the owner or I deserve this, I am that good, this is my right. Allah does not like it. Allah like humility. Let me give you a story about Hazrat Musa alayhi salam. This story is mentioned in Quran in Surah Al-Kahf. One day, Hazrat Musa alayhi salam is narrated in Hadith that somebody asked Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, "Oh Musa, who is the person with the most knowledge?" And Musa alayhi salam, he said, "Me." Because he had the knowledge of Taurat. He was the Rasul of Bani Israel. He has a prophet who is otherwise 3 years older than him, his elder brother Harun alayhi salam, but he was his subordinate. He reported to Hazrat Musa alayhi salam in the hierarchy. Remember, Allah does not have anything equal. Everything is in a hierarchy. So Hazrat Harun alayhi salam, he was to assist Hazrat Musa alayhi salam. Musa alayhi salam was his boss. So, and he knows Allah had given him miracles. He knew the book, and he was, of course, he had talked to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he just immediately he said, I am. And Allah did not like that answer, because the way anybody should say is Allah knows everything. So Allah told Musa alayhi salam, "Oh Musa, you are not the person, you're not the human who knows anything. There is another one of my servants who knows better than you." To Musa alayhi salam, he said, "Oh Allah, then I want to meet him." Then Allah told him, "Okay, take a fish, put it in your basket, and when the fish will become alive, that time stay there and you will meet that person." So Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, he took a fish, a dead fish. He asked from his companions, "Who is going to follow me? Who is going to accompany me on this journey so I can reach my destination?" Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam, who was amongst pretty much always the first one. He was another prophet of Bani Israelites, but at that time he was not given prophethood. So he said, "I will go with you." So Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, he took Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam, and they both started, and they went. It kept on walking and walking, and it was like it was so much tiresome travel. Only Allah knows how many days had passed, that one day Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, he asked Yusuf alayhi salam, "Bring us food. This journey has broken me or made me tired." So Yusuf alayhi salam, he started to taking the food out of basket, and then he saw that the fish, it jumped and it went into the river. It has been dead for so many days, but then Allah gave it life and it jumped and went into the river. But then it started swimming at the same place in the river. However, the Yusuf alayhi salam, he forgot it about it to mention Hazrat Musa alayhi salam. So they ate the food, they started walking, and after in the evening, a day or whatever time it was, Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, he just casually asked him, Yusha, what about that fish? And he said, Oh, I forgot to tell you, it jumped out of the basket and went into the river. Where we had dinner yesterday or in the morning or whatever time, whatever meal it was. Musa alayhi salam said, Oh, that was the place where we had to be. So let's go back. So they went back and they saw that the fish was swimming still in the water. So Hazrat Musa alayhi salam said, This is the place. And they saw there was a person who was sleeping on the rock. To Musa alayhi salam, he told Yusha alayhi salam, Okay, now you go back home. I have reached my destination. So Musa alayhi salam went to the person and asked, Assalamu alaikum. He said, Walaikum salam. And he said, Who are you? Because it was not many people were Muslims. So Musa alayhi salam, he said, I am Musa. And he said, Musa from Bani Israel, from the Israelites. He said, Yes. I said, Okay, so how can I help you? He said, I am here to learn the knowledge that you have. He said, Musa, you don't have the patience needed to learn the knowledge that I have. So Musa alayhi salam, he said, No, please don't make a decision in a haste about me. Give me a chance. Inshallah, you will find that I have patience. I can hold it. He said, Okay, then follow me, accompany me, but do not ask anything unless I tell you something myself. This is in Islam, the status of a teacher is higher. Of a teacher who teaches you deen, religion of Allah, is higher than even your parents. So it is that you have to treat them with utmost obedience and be attentive because what they can give you can take you up into the paradise. And if you don't take it, then you have only one other place to go to. So this was the same condition that was set in front of Musa alayhi salam. And now see who is Musa. Allah has talked to him. By that time, he has given the miracles. He is the one who is challenging the Pharaoh. He's probably had challenged the Pharaoh by that time. And he is given the book, the Torah by Allah. He is a messenger, not only prophet, he is the messenger and one of the Ulul Azm messengers, the one of the highest ranking messengers. Again, there is ranking amongst the prophets, messengers as well. So prophets, there is a ranking amongst them. Then messengers as a whole, the whole category is above them. Then there is ranking amongst the messengers. One big category is Ulul Azm, and other are that are not categorized like that. And then even in them is the ranking. And what we know is that Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, he is less in ranking to only one human in the world, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Otherwise, he is the one who is followed by the most people. He is second most followed messenger in the mankind. So these are his credentials. And what Khizr al-Islam is telling him is that, okay, keep quiet until I tell you something. Don't ask me questions. Just stay with me and observe. So they wanted to go to a town. There was a river in between. They uh, sat on in a boat. They onboarded a boat, and the boat started. And a sparrow or a bird, it flew from the boat and it dipped into the ocean or in the river and take a drop of water and flew back. And Khizr al-Islam to teach Hazrat Musa alayhi. Remember how it started. Somebody asked him who knows the best, and he said, I. Khizr alayhi he said, Ya Musa, O Musa, this bird, whatever this bird has taken from this drop, a drop, whatever it has taken from this ocean or this river, your and my knowledge combined is not even equal to that much as compared to the knowledge of Allah. Allah's knowledge is is infinite. We have not even taken a drop of it. And then, as the story goes, uh, I'm not going to repeat all those things here, uh, but actually, let me do that. So, when they were offboarding it, Hazrat Khidr alayhi salam, he broke a plank out of that. Okay, before that, actually, the people who were rowing the boat, they did not charge them money. Khidr alayhi salam wanted to give them money. He said, no, we can't take money from you. So they did a good thing to them, but when they were off boarded, Khidr alayhi salam, he broke off a plank of that boat for them. So Hazrat Musa alayhi salam said, what did you do? Those were so nice people, poor people, they didn't even charge you money. And rather than doing them some good, you broke their boat. Khidr alayhi salam, he said, did I not tell you that you won't be able to have patience with me? Musa alayhi salam, he remembered immediately. He said, forgive me, I forgot, so don't be hasty about it. I would not. Inshallah, now I will not. I will hold my patience. So they went to the town during their journey, and there were kids playing. And there was this young boy who was playing with the kids. Khidr alayhi salam, he took that young boy by the hand, took him on the side, and killed him. Hazrat Musa alayhi salam said, what have you done? You killed a child when he has not committed any sin. Hazrat Khidr alayhi salam, he said, did I not tell you? You will not be able to hold your patience with me. Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, he said, okay, give me one last chance. Okay, some of us say that, give me one last chance. If I do it now, then you are free to decide whatever you want to decide for me. So Hazrat Khidr alayhi salam, he said, okay. They kept on their journey. In the journey, they went through a city, a town, a village. And the people were very hostile about them. They didn't even give them water to drink or food or something. They were like very, very rude to them. And while they were passing through the town or the village, they saw a wall that was tilting and was about to fall. Khidr al-Islam said to Musa, hey Musa, let's fix this wall. And he started like fixing that wall and made it straight up and like fixed it. And Musa al-Islam, he was working with him and he was in himself because Musa alayhi salam, his nature is that he is very uh, what is the right English word? He can become angry very easily. He is he does not he's very hasty. He's very quick to be angry. So he has what you call it Jalal is more that this is his personality. Do you know some people they are very calm and some people are very agitative. They become agitated very easily. So Musa alayhi salam is the second. It was very easy for him to become angry. So Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, he was like, okay, these people did not do anything good to us. They did not even give us water or something. They like rejected us. They hated, hunted, like or whatever did they do, they did to us. And this person is fixing a wall and we don't know whose wall it is. So once they were fixed, the wall was fixed, he told Hazrat Khidr alayhi salam, at least you could have asked some money for it. Because these people that to Hazrat Khidr alayhi salam, he said, did I not tell you that you will not be able to hold your patience with me? At that time he said, now let me tell you, why did I do what I did? Right? That boat I broke off a plank because the king or the ruler of that area was confiscating the boats for his own personal use, and I broke it off so this would have a defect and he would not take the boat that is a defective one. So these people, they were poor people who had that boat, so I saved their boat by causing it a defect, make it defective so the king would not snatch it from them. The child, his parents were very pious and good, but this child would have grown to be a monster, a rebellion, a person who would not have followed the path of Allah. So I killed that child so Allah would replace him with a better child for his parents, who the one who is going to be following the commands of Allah. And the wall It belonged to two orphans, and their father was a nice, an obedient person to Allah. He was a salih, a pious person. And under the wall, he had hid a treasure for them. So if the wall would have fallen, that treasure would have become open and people would have snatched it from them. So Allah wanted to hide that treasure till a time that both the brothers they have grown and become a grown up men, and then Allah would reveal it so they can benefit from it. So these are the three things that you could not hold your patience to learn. And of course, as Musa alayhi salam, he after that came back to his people. Rasulullah sallam, he said that, may Allah have peace and have mercy on Musa alayhi salam. If he would have held his patience, we would have known a lot more of things of hikmah, of wisdom. Remember, wisdom is not 2 plus 2 equals to 4. Wisdom is analyzing and seeing the things, interpreting them, and seeing things before it happens. That is wisdom. That is when you, and there are laws of it. But the most important thing to learn wisdom is to have patience, have humility. It is taught, it is not learned. It is taught. It like anything in the world. If you do not have the humility to listen to your teacher, you can't learn anything. Those who do not respect their teachers never be successful. And success is not that, yeah, they may get a lot of money one day by doing by hook or crook, but eventually they will fall. They won't learn a true virtue of anything because you do not respect your teachers because you're not humble. It's not because your teacher is bad. It's because you're not humble, because you are bad. Because even the worst of the teachers will teach you something. You can get something good from everybody. But if you are mocking them, you are making fun of them, you are cursing them, you are talking bad about them, you are not humble. You don't have what it takes. No matter how big of you think of yourself, you are a failure. You will always be a failure. You will never be satisfied with anything because a person who is not humble is never thankful. And a person who is never thankful is never happy because nobody gets everything. Where glass will always be half full or even less. You would have to learn the art of being thankful and being humble. We are Muslims. Islam, the very meaning of the word is submission. If you don't learn submission, if you cannot submit, you can be anything, but you can't be a Muslim. You can be anything, but you can't be a Muslim. Allah's because Allah tests us. Why does what He tests us in two ways? Simple. He tightens the screws on us to see if we come back to Him, if we correct ourselves. Does it make us humble? Oh Allah, only you can solve it. Oh Allah, show me the right path. And then Allah has given the right path. Do this, follow this person, obey this person, don't do this. Like He has. Here is the funny thing. Nothing that Allah asks for us makes sense. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It does not make sense. Allah has made all those things for us. Let take the wealth, okay? Everything in this world is related with wealth, right? You have to have money to buy stuff that makes your life easier or things that you use, right? But what Allah says, okay, you cannot have a wealth like through X, Y, and Z means. There are specific ways to have the wealth. Halal and haram. There are gates on everything. Okay, you cannot put away X, Y, and Z things in order to get wealth. You want to be rich, but Allah has told you this is not your job. Want to have wealth? I say, no, not for you. Your job is X, Y, and Z. Well, Allah, what I what? No. And then you earn wealth. Allah says, okay, it is your money. Now go spend on these people who are not doing anything. They're not doing anything for you. Why would a man spend his money on his wife and his children? Why? When they're young? Why? What is in it for him? I am making 100,000. I am making 70,000. I'm making 60,000. My money. Why do I have to feed a child who cannot even do anything for me? And keep on feeding them up until they are growing, and then they say, oh, you are an idiot. Right? Why do I have to do that? Tell me one good reason a person need to spend money on his wife and his children. There is no reason. There is absolutely no reason. It's all waste. If you do not believe in Allah, then it's all waste. It's all waste. You could, even if you're making 60,000, you can do a lot of good things for yourself in 60,000. That's what these people do. They live like boyfriend, girlfriend. They don't have kids. They have their own money. They spend it on them for tens of years because that's why that you enjoy it. I have no responsibility of you. You don't have anything on me. That's why they think the kids are a burden. One, two, or maybe not even zero. That's what. Because it does not make sense. I have my money. Remember, imagine I am making, for example, 60,000 a year. I get a car and everything okay. I'm making 5,000 a month. I spend about 2,000, 2,500 on everything that I do. My house, my car, nice house, everything. I rent an apartment, blah, blah, blah. Even 3,000. Okay. I have a $3,000 saving. Every year, 36,000. I can, 10 years, I have 300 something thousand. I am rich. 20 years, I got half, more than half a million. Fine. Okay, I can live. I have my health, everything. Why do I need to spend money? You have children, your savings go to zero immediately. From diapers to formula to doctor bills to schools to uniforms to clothing to XYZ to the toys to food, everything. They're always asking, 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 right? So why would you? There is not a single rational reason, strictly speaking, from a materialistic mind, that you can come up with that say, oh, okay, it's a good investment to give on your spend on your children and spend on your wife. There is absolutely no reason. There is no benefit because what are the children do? Most of them, when they are 18, oh, I don't know who you are. I'm gonna be independent. Okay, my own money. I'm gonna say bye bye. So all that you had done in that many years was gone. Shoop. Imagine what you could have done if you had saved that money, right? The only reason we do it as a Muslim is because this is what Allah wants us to do. And we try to do a better job of it. We try to spend everything we had on our children and our wives because Allah told us this is your responsibility and we do want to do a good job of it. Otherwise, it's a pure waste of time and energy and money. There is no other reason. I was There was a famous playwright Ishfaq Saab in one of his plays, one of his characters, the lady, he said, my husband told me, she was telling it to her daughter, my husband told me the very first night of our marriage that in the amount of money you spend on keeping one wife, you can have 4 concubines. Then the only reason we have wives and not concubines is because Allah wants us to do that. And second, because we want them to be faithful and obedient. But, and that is the math. It is just expense, 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 expense. If you are purely materialistic, your children, they're just a liability. If you are purely materialistic, and they are going to either get away from you as never they are, or because let us face the truth, many of the kids they don't take care of their parents. when they get old for X, Y, and Z reasons. Look around you. How many people do you see living with their parents? Parents are old. They come up with X, Y, Z reasons that they're not blah, blah, blah. But they're all lame excuses. But in us, in Islam, Allah tells us, okay, hey, these are your responsibility. These are your investment in this life and the hereafter. Raise them. Raise them as I want you to raise them, and you will you be having a share in every good thing they will do till they live, and their children live, and their children live, and their children live till long after you are dead, as long as you have raised them the way I want you to raise them. That is the investment that Islam wants us to do. Not that, oh, when I grow old, then they will take care of me. Nobody takes care of you when you get old. And whoever does it, good for him or her. Nobody does any favor to the parents when you're taking care of them. You're just paying them a small sum. There was a Sahabi of Rasulullah. He said, Ya Rasulullah, my mom is very old. I carried him on my back and I took her to do Hajj on foot while carrying her on my back, and I brought her back. So, however many miles, whatever it was, he carried the Maad all the way from him home to Hajj, did everything in the Hajj while carrying her and back, brought her back. Oh, Ya Rasulullah, have I paid her back? Her debt back? Rasulullah said, maybe, you know, the pains that she bore through while she was giving birth to you, maybe one of those waves, because the pain comes in waves, one of those waves you have paid back. Maybe one of those waves you have paid back. One of the Sahabi, he came to Rasulullah crying and he said, Ya Rasulullah, I came to you to complain about my son. Of course, he was also a Sahabi, the son was also a Sahabi. Rasulullah Jibrail came and he said, Ya Rasulullah, before you listen to him, tell him to tell you the poem that he had thought about while coming to you. And Rasulullah he said, first tell me about the poem, that poem. Let me hear that what you were thinking about. And he said, Ya Rasulullah, I bear witness that you are the true prophet and messenger of Allah because I was just thinking about it and Allah told you about it. So he told him the poem and it was like some of the thing was, oh my son, the day you were born, my luxuries ended. I sacrificed everything to bring peace and comfort to you. I spent everything, and now you take me as a burden on you. So when he was reading that poem, Rasulullah he started crying. And when he was crying, Sahaba also started crying. And then Rasulullah he called his son. He came. And Rasulullah he did not ask him to clarify anything. He said him one thing. He said, you and your money belong to your father. You and your wealth belongs to your father. End of story. So this is, but this coming back to the point, Islam, Allah, I said, nothing that Allah ordered us makes any sense. Why don't we eat all day? Ramadan, why don't we drink all day? Allah does not have anything to do with it. He does not get any benefit from it. What's the rationale? Right? Why can't you marry or like these people do? Whoever you like, just okay, go ahead, spend some time and then go away. Why all these things? These are unnatural. We don't want it. Like, imagine a life where you can get money however you want. You can get a partner, whoever you like, for however you long. Where somebody else's state, whatever is responsible for the children. You don't have to spend anything on them. You live alone, you enjoy the life, and you die and you pass. Everything is gone and done. That would be much better. But Allah did not make it like that. He tied us into so many other things because He wants to test us. Who is willing? Who is my obedient servant? Who is willing to do what I have commanded them to do? Because when we were in the heaven, in the paradise, before we consent here, we confirmed that, oh Allah, yes, you are our Lord. Then Allah said, okay, I'll test you. I will make you prove your worth. I will hold you. I will give you a chance to prove that you meant what you said. And we are here. And we are here as a test. And how do you test? You do not take a driver's test by going on a straight road. When you go for a driving test, they tell you, okay, now this is stop sign, stop here. Okay, are you giving the indicators? How close can you stop to this light? And can you park between the cones and all those things, right? So that is what the definition of test is. So we are here as a test. Allah has put a check against each and every desire of us. If we have not broken ourselves, our inner selves, we are not successful in the test. That is what it is. That is what the purpose of this month is. That in this month, in Ramadan, Allah has asked us to stop ourselves from even the halal, to excel in humility, to be a good servant. That, oh Allah, we are ready to do whatever you want us to do. That is what we achieve. That is what this training is about. It's not about me, it's about you. Oh Allah, you. Whatever I have, whatever you permit me and I do stuff. You stop me and I stop. I don't have any free will. My free will is I surrender it to your command. That is the training of Ramadan. That is why, like Allah said, the Siyam, the Som, the Rosa, the fast, it's for me and only I will reward for it because we are giving up everything for Allah with humility, not with pride. Allah does not get any benefit from anything. This is the training. And then that's another blessing of Allah that the night of Qadr comes in this month. So we are humble by the time our decrees are sent on the first heavens for the whole year because none of us knows if we are going to be living next whole year or not. So the reason we come here every month, and this is our last meeting of this Ramadan because inshallah I'll be leaving for Umrah on Friday and we'll be back after Eid, is that we remember Allah and we cleanse our hearts. So we increase in our humility. Humility and obedience is not something, oh Allah, wait a minute, I'm coming, let me do this thing, let me finish this game. This is not obedience. Allah throws that obedience into the trash. Let me tell you, He does not want it. He is supreme, He's the Lord. He wants you are in the middle of breaking, you have broken the bread. I'm just giving an example. And you are here, and Allah calls you and you say, oh Allah, I'm here. And you stand up immediately. That's what Allah wants. Allah wants a servant, Allah wants a slave. Allah wants a slave. Allah does not want a person with free will. If you have a free will, you are Fir'aun, you are Namrud, you are Shaddad, you are Haman, you are Qarun. You know who Qarun was? He was from the Israelites. He was the wealthiest person of the time at the time of Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, and he was an aide of Fir'aun. And people, when Allah says in Quran, then when he would walk, they some say the keys of his treasures would take 100 camels to carry the keys of his treasures. He was filthy rich, and not rich in terms of digital currency, gold and pearls and silver and those things. real money, real wealth. He had like houses, like the shops full of these things. And Allah says in Quran, then when he went, he kept out, and of course he was so rich, there were people ahead of and behind him, and his clothes and his whatever he was riding on, everything was of the utmost. And some of the Israelites were looking, oh, look at Qarun. What a good fortune does he have? Simple, right? And then a few days or some time later, Allah became so angry. All of a sinkhole opened, and Qarun, with his all wealth, went inside the earth. And the earth became equal after that, went inside. And then the same people started saying, oh my God, look at what a horrible fate did he have. It's mentioned in the Quran. And this they said, Astaghfirullah, they seek Allah's forgiveness that Allah did not make their fortune like his fortune. So if the point I'm trying to make, that don't get fooled. Allah says in Ya Ibad, Ya Ibad, Ya Ibad. Ibad means a slave. Oh my slaves, oh my slaves, oh my slaves. Today we think, oh, being a slave is such a bad thing. Being a slave is a very good thing, indeed, actually, if it is to Allah. And even for a human, there are a slave is amongst the three people who have double the reward in this world. Everything. Just because we think something is bad does not mean it is bad. Just because today the world is thinking, oh, this thing is X, Y, and Z, does not mean. You have to come back to the book of Allah. I have to come back to the book of Allah to see what is good and what is bad. And that requires humility, because let's face it, most of the people in this world, they do not believe in Allah or in his book, right? So most of the thing they are going to do is not going to be in line with the commands of Allah and his book. Most of the Muslims, unfortunately, do not believe in Allah and his book. Yeah, we do praise, we do everything. We are Muslims. I'm not saying we are not, but we don't believe in it. Belief is something different. How can you believe in Allah and you do stuff Allah does not want you to do? You demand rights that Allah has not given you? Categorically not given you? Categorically is not your job? Or categorically is your job and you don't want to do it? This is not belief. It is, taking a bit and leaving others. Whatever you like, you're cherry picking. This is not belief. Belief is not cherry picking. Belief is, again, submission. Submission like a slave, a good slave who does not cheat, does whatever his master wants him or her to do. That's why Allah never said in Quran, oh, my friends do this. Allah never used that word. He said, those who do, they Allah become their friends. But Qul ya ibadi, ya ibadi, ya ibadullah, ya ibadullah. Everywhere, oh servants, slaves of Allah, oh slaves of Allah, oh slaves of Allah. There is a reason. Allah did not say anything without any purpose. There is a reason about it. He wants us to be as humble as a slave, as dependent on Him as a slave. And when we come here, the only reason is we want to cleanse our heart so we can understand this true meaning of being a Muslim. We try to disconnect from everything, focus on Allah, get closer to Him. Because one day everything is going to end. For you, not this world. A person's world, for a person, a Qiyamah is here the moment he or she dies. No, there is nothing between that moment and Qiyamah. You are already in Qiyamah. Your Qiyamah is here. Because now it is only, the result, the day that the result is going to be announced. But you already at that time know where you're ending up. Your work is done. Your Qiyamah is there. It takes 1,000 years, 2,000 years, 3,000 years, doesn't matter for you. You're just in the holding pattern, but that's pretty much it. So we need to be ready for that moment. A person. Now I will end this thing because I just remembered it. I heard it. I want to share with this. So Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he gave 5 advices to Hazrat Abu Zar radhiyallahu ta'ala anhu. First of them was, O Abu Dhar, never look at the person who is above you in wealth and status. Always look at the person who is below you. Never look at the person who is above. Never look at the person who is richer. Never look at them what they got. Look at the people who are below you, what they got, so you're thankful. The word is never, not sometimes, never. And the second one was, and I'm gonna just limit it to two, was and keep company of the poor people. Sit with the poor people. Don't sit with the rich people. Hang out with the poor people. Al Masakin. Sit with them. Stay with them. Hang out with them. Look at only these two. And look at what we do. What we aspire to be. What do we look at? And what do we do? And who we are. We know where we stand. So that's why we are here. So we cleanse our hearts. So these commands like these, commands like these become easy for us to act upon. That we are not afraid when you are sitting up, spending time hanging out with poor people. You know what it makes? What happens? You don't become afraid of becoming poor. You don't get afraid of getting poor. You say, "Oh, I can live like that," because you are living with them. You are hanging out with them. You know it's not going to take the life away, the world away from you. Every person who has a little bit of wealth, their every moment is spent fearing being poor, increasing that wealth so they do not get poor. A rich man or woman does not fear anything more than becoming poor by losing whatever they have. Nothing shakes them more than that. And that fear is what shaitan uses to play with them, to direct them here and there. Oh, if you're going to do that, oh, okay. You want to do what the Quran says? Okay, but remember, And then say, oh, but what? And then he says, oh, you know what? No, no, Quran, this is not what Quran says. How can Quran say that? You don't need to open the Quran. Just trust me. How can Quran say that? Allah cannot say that. Just do it. This is fine. And 99% of the people said, oh, I have never read Quran, but I know Allah cannot say that. Wow, that's the audacity we have. I have never read Quran. I don't have no clue about this. All I have heard is from X, Y, and Z. Some people who are already slaves of this world, and I know it. But because they would say the stuff that I like, I'm not gonna open the Quran. I'm not gonna ask them anything. Oh, because so and so said it. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm here. This is good for me. He said it. She said it. I'm good. It is. It is. It suits me. Fine. Because we don't want to be poor. Because we don't want to let go of all the luxuries and things that we have. We think it is our right. We think it is okay, but it is not our right. He who has given it can take it any moment. He has the right to it. Acknowledge that right and be ready for it. And be sure, just try that if that moment comes, you say, oh my Lord, it was yours. If you have taken it, I have no problem. Rather than holding on, no. Have a true servant of Allah is who says, oh Allah. There was this one person, he went to the battlefield with 4 or 5 of his sons. And he told his son, he said, you go first. Because I want each and every one of you to be murdered, to be killed on the battlefield. So I see it, and I do sabr on it, persevere through it, and I seek Allah's forgiveness and dua, and I bear through that pain, and I go through it, and I show patience just for the sake of Allah, because only your father knows the pain of when your son dies in front of you. And then he said, when all of you are gone, then I'll come and join you. Then I'll go in and then lay my life for Allah and join you. But I want to go through that pain to show Allah my obedience, to prove my obedience, to go through that pain. And that's exactly what happened. All his sons died and he died as well. May Allah bless their souls. But this is humility. This is submission. When you raise your children and yourself to be ready to lay down your life on a moment's notice for the sake of Allah, that is successful. That is being a servant of Allah. And that is why we are here, so we remember Allah, so our hearts becomes pure, and we get that energy and that power that comes only from the heart of Rasulullah Sallallahu. That we become perfect in obeying Him, and by that we become perfect in obeying Allah, and by that we all are successful by becoming true servants of Allah. So with this focus and intention, inshallah, we'll start. Say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Kalma Tawheed, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. Kalma Tamjeed, Subhanallah, walhamdulillahi, wa la ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar, wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-aliyyil azim. درود إبراهيم اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. سيد الاستغفار أستغفر الله العظيم الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه. آية كريمة. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت. سورة فاتحة. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم الصراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. سورة إخلاص. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. آية الكرسي. الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم. الله الحسيب. لطيف. يا مجيب السميع. يا وهاب. يا باري. يا قابض. يا علي العظيم. يا حي يا قيوم. يا ذو الجلال والإكرام. يا حنان يا منان. يا غفور يا رحيم. يا جواد يا كريم. يا علام الغيوب. يا ودود يا عطوف. Ya Baqiyu. Ya Basitu. Ya Kabir al Muta'al. Salamun qawlan min Rabbir Rahim. Ya Badi al Ajaibi bil Khair. Ya Badi al Ajaibi bil Khair. Ya Arhamar Rahimin. Ya Allahu Ya Rahman. Salatul Khawf. Those of you who don't know this Durood Sharif, they recite whichever Durood Sharif they know. This one is Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi salatan takunu lana amanam min kulli khawf. Recite Surah Fatiha one time and make dua. Allah Muhammad. La ilaha Muhammad Rasulullah. Inshallah, there will be no other mehfil during the remainder of the week. I'll be going for Umrah inshallah next Saturday, next Friday, this Friday inshallah.